Hello students. Today the video is about cultural spaces. As a very prominent culture space, our first study is about the shopping mall. India is going through a phase of mall culture. The Great Indian Mall boom began enough in the early 2000s with just 3 malls in the entire country. But by the end of 2017, there are more than 600 malls. The malls marks a radical departure from the usual retail store. In the case of the retail store, one asks for things one needs and the shopkeeper supplies those. But in the case of the mall, the shopper gazes on a whole range of goods and products, most of which he or she may not need. The mall is therefore a space of display where goods are arranged for maximum visual appeal. The arrangement of goods has to be attractive enough to instill desire for particular products so that the shopper will purchase the same. Spectacle, attention holding, and desire are the central elements of a shopping experience in the mall. The mall is therefore primarily a site of gazing and spectacle, and it's only secondarily a site of shopping. People come into the shopping mall for mainly looking, and hence there is a significance of visual appeal in the structure of a mall. The presence of models and posters constitute the spectacle of fantasy in the mall. The images of models and shop windows in a mall exceed in number and dimension than what you would find on a shopping street. One is surrounded by such images of attractive men and women, cozy families, and energetic youth. So the mall is a fantasy world where you enter and experience the illusion of perfection embodied in these images. The shop windows suggest possibilities that you can also look like this if you acquire the particular product. Spectacle is a performance in which the customer and consumer can initiate and participate in. It is something that one performs and enacts. You can handle the objects, touch them, examine them, and even try them on. It's like a theatrical performance that is interactive. And also in the mall, there's the display of consumption. It's showing people eating, wearing, and using is aligned with the spectacle too. What we now have in a mass media representation of consumer culture is the display of consumption itself. Even as the spectator consumes the ad, spectacle is entirely of signs. Consumption is coded as a sign, which in turn we can consume. The spectacle effect is achieved through the vistas that open out at every level within the mall. Balconies and viewing points at every floor enable one to survey large sections of the store. We have a prospect of shopping unveiled before us. The view is a part of the spectacle, and it suggests a sense of choice too. Where to go and what to buy, etc. And another theme of spectacle is that of eclecticism. One of the central features of conventional shopping medias and stores has been their unidimensionality. You go to one place for all handlooms, another for glassware, yet another for fashion. The mall centers all this. Consumers are getting more attracted towards one-stop destination for satisfying their shopping desires, thus complementing the emergence of mall culture. The shopping center provides all facilities to the consumers, ranging from having bookstores, beauty salons, food courts, medical aids, and grocery stores. Malls also facilitate shoppers and numerous variety of brand clothes and shoes, beauty and fashion products, furniture and home furnishings, and amusement center for kids. Another term that is very characteristic of a shopping mall is Disneyfication. This is a term that is introduced by Sharon Zukin. Disneyfication means immersion in the fantasy world in corporeal terms. You adorn yourself, you rob yourself, and redesign yourself and compare your new look with what is possible. So you possibly live in a fantasy world. You can become whatever you want. It is a term that is derived from the commercial transformation of society to resemble Walt Disney parks and resorts based upon rapid Western style globalization and consumerist lifestyle. Contemporary consumer culture is the culture of the world. This makes the experience of a mall a wonderfully cosmopolitan one. The world under one roof. Eclecticism and the mixing of products, styles, and traditions are a central feature of the mall and consumer culture. Regarding organization of the mall, the three main dimensions of mall culture are modernization, systemization, and consolidation. The mall is an intensified experience of city life, but with some crucial difference. Reading the mall as a text, one can decipher the following popular meanings and quotes. It extends the city into a shopping area. The mall is an enclosed street, roofed and walled in. The street, which once had a row of stores, has been taken into a mall. The mall combines the stroll with the shopping. It is a sanitized city. It's free of dirt, pollution, bad weather, noise, chaotic traffic, and also of beggars, street people, and vendors. It is different from the city because it is more organized. Designated places for rest, leisure, and entertainment are in sharp contrast to the chaos of Indian street. Shoppers regard great importance to attributes like security, cleanliness, sitting arrangement, parking, variety, quality of products, and after-sale services. Mall is a secured city space. The entrances are guarded and undesirable elements are kept out. The mall security directs traffic and parking. The space of the mall is tightly monitored. Uniform personnel, security camera, and floor managers monitor the traffic inside the mall. Now, consumers can shop without worrying about parking problems and security issues. The mall is also an escape separated from the rest of the city. It's a standalone space set apart from the city's chaos and traffic. One can go into the mall to hang out, while in most countries the malls are located outside and away from the main town. Indian cities seem to want malls in the city center. The malls are also a hyperreal space. The hyperreal is the creation through illusion of what has never existed before. Paths that do not lead to destinations but to more images and paths would be good examples for hyperreal. Even as one heads for the exit, the mall is a universe in itself, with windows into many worlds. Glass is a central element in all malls. It reflects other stores, creating a fantasy world of products, repetition of products, stores, looks of consumption, etc. It adds to the sense of the hyperreal, a kind of fantasy, an utopia of never-ending consumer choices and consumption. Times, the seasons, the weather do not matter here. The lighting, arrangement of spectacles, and the controlled environment renders it more real. It's a clean city where the most common everyday elements have been incorporated but in a modified, upgraded, and purified version. The hyperreal is the mixed reality of the mall. The illusion merges with the real, the illusion is made real and experienced by actual flesh and blood bodies. Mixed reality is the interpretation of the artificial with the bodily. The space of the mall is activated and transformed as the user negotiates that space. Directions are painted on the floor and markers are displayed at regular intervals and constitute the mall's equivalent of a city's traffic signals. Adding to the sense of hyperreal, there is the historical nature of the mall. When the streets of any city carry markers of its history, the mall lives exclusively in the present. It's beyond historical time and outside history. Time collapses inside a mall not only because changes in weather and time are irrelevant, but also because history do not matter here. The mall is also a postmodern secular space, free of spaces of religion, caste, class. The mall is a substitute for the secure spaces of religion and social grouping. The free floating nature of the mall makes it postmodern and in a state of constant flux. In contrast to the familiar retailer and familiar faces, mall shifts to a being non-identitarian. Malls is a very antithesis of individualism in its anonymity and secular spaces. Some malls occasionally have local cultures and native lines included in their spectacle. But generally, malls in India are about cosmopolitan fashion and brands. McDonald's is one store in any mall. Conventional food items are uncommon, though one could easily pick up brownies, cookies, pizzas, burgers, and coffee at most of the malls. Fast food seems to be mainstay of the culinary component of the mall. Cosmopolitanism is also evident in the kind of brands and products available. John Pliers, Allen Solly, Spiker, Wrangler are examples of brands concentrated in the space of a mall. Native and local products are difficult to find. A mall is also a feminine space. The city and other public spaces have traditionally been hostile to women. The mall, on the other hand, sets out to attract the woman shopper stroller. Enhanced security, for instance, is meant to ensure that women strollers feel more comfortable here. The mall marks a pedestrianization of space. When you enter, the floor plan tells you about the organization of the complex. Kids, women, and food are often marked on the walls or in panels. Instructions about restrooms, stairs, prayer room, elevator, payment areas are prominently displayed. The mall, while giving you the illusion of freedom, does control the movement. Most malls allocate sufficient space for walking. It is a walk through series of spectacles. An interesting feature of contemporary shopping malls is the emphasis on cleanliness. The ethos of security, freedom to walk without obstructions, having to dodge vehicles is heightened by a sense of hygiene, safety, and cleanliness. The mall erases or collapses the merging of the natural and the human that marks a traditional city. The controlled environs of the mall secure it from stray animals. Planned life is strictly limited to specific areas. The mall is a good example of the globalization of culture. Products and brands from various places, cultures, and communities are under one roof. In a mall, the company itself has an outlet in contrast to the retail store. The mall also represents globalization in giving importance to local festivals and events within the world of mall. Festivals become an occasion for greater consumption. Indianization of global products and globalization of an Indian festival is a central paradox of a shopping mall. The globalization of culture defines the reshaping of public space in the city. The new cosmopolitan lifestyles represented in the cosmopolitan commodity culture now demand new kinds of spaces that reflect global diversity, product range, and cultures. The mix of local architecture with the global ones suggests such a redefining of public space. The mall is also a hybrid space, a space for shopping and of social interaction. It is not uncommon to see the mall spaces transformed into spaces of youth culture, space of leisure and entertainment. So hybridity has spatial equivalence. The mall is a space where various spaces are collapsed. It is a picnic spot, it's a romantic spot, it's a public park, it's a shopping area, it's a leisure space, all in one. Mall is uniformly hybrid space where the mixes of registers and structures are the same everywhere. Glass surfaces, well maintained floors and walls, seating arrangements, entry and exit points, special offers, vibrant colors are common features of most malls. The malls in India are a space of multinational products and commodities. Malls are also designated for its leisure and recreation spaces. The mall is a space of leisure and recreation while also being a shopping area. In fact, shopping is only one of the several purposes of a mall. Leisure is central to its structure, style, and organization. Leisure shopping is about pleasure shopping for non essentials. A stroll through the mall, which might lead to actual purchases, is about the pleasure of the stroll, of spectacle and secure environment. Leisure shopping includes the trip to the mall, the company of friends or family, visual pleasures of display, a meal, and a movie or games. Leisure shopping areas offer not only branded clothes but also restaurants, movie houses, games, and entertainment areas in a seamless manner. Stores, restaurants, food courts, kid zones, places for relaxation, areas for social use, interaction, entertainment, and promotions are major components for any mall. One of the best examples of leisure shopping is the airport mall. Almost every airport offers a shopping area integrated into an infrastructure. Passengers waiting for connections can combine travel with leisure shopping. This is non-utility shopping. That is, no one makes a trip to the airport to shop. So you shop at the airport when you have time to kill. This form of leisure shopping is the key aspect of contemporary shopping culture. And what is the other side of a mall? The organization of a mall has consumption for profits as its key purpose, but the space of the mall is modified and appropriated by the strollers for the purpose other than that. The mall could be very well a place for the youth's romantic tryst that have nothing to do with shopping. This enables the consumption of food and entertainment. The older people may see the mall as a place to relax and watch people rather than shopping sites. So, for older people, the controlled environment and the safety present a world with fewer dangers than the public space of the city. Hybridity is also a paradox where contradictory elements negotiate. There are discourses of modernity and traditions present in the case of food and clothing. There are complaints from the tenants who have moved from high street of the town to the malls that people do not actually buy. It is not easy to get customer loyalty. The retailer has to create a distinctive identity for himself or herself. So we have learned about the malls that are sites of spectacle and illusion, secure places organized around maximizing conditions for consumption. The cultures of consumption is thus a complex negotiation between the discourses generated by brands, consumer studies, and builds on the imagined happiness achieved through consumption. So thus, we have come to the end of the session on malls as a space of cultural consumption. Thank you.